Individuals with COD already face some unique challenges to their recovery process due to the complexity of their issues. In addition, other factors can hinder recovery, including misunderstandings or bias on the part of the social workers who are trying to help.
It's easy as a professional, after you've seen a number of people with similar kinds of situations, to start lumping them into the same category. It's an easy trap to fall into as a professional. It's our own biases, our own judgment that shows through sometimes, unintentionally, but it does shape the way that we start to view the people that we're working with.
The social worker that I had was unsupportive. She looked down on me and she talked down to me. The social worker that I worked with didn't listen to me. My advice for social workers would be to remember that that person's a human, and that person's someone's daughter, someone's mother, and that it's taking a lot of courage for them to walk in there, and it might look like they're looking up, but I'm sure their head is inside is hanging down.
Don't prejudge anyone. Get to know the individual. Accept them right where they're at. As you try to get them to accept themselves where they're at, you have to accept them where they're at and don't prejudge them.
The best way to avoid that is to be conscious of your own biases, your own potential judgment that you might project onto the client. Certainly understanding the client's history is important. What I'm trying to emphasize here is that when we meet with people, we don't want to let that history drive our planning from that point forward necessarily.
The impact of bias can be seen when social workers focus too heavily on diagnoses rather than on individual behaviors. This can often lead to the development of template case plans that don't take into consideration the unique circumstances of the individual client and their family, often reducing the effectiveness of the plan.
I think it's really easy sometimes to get caught up in case plan adherence and really just being very black and white. We have to not just do a cookie cutter approach to every single parent that has these issues. We need to be very creative in our case planning and working with these parents to allow them to have the best chance of success for parenting again.
I think the case plan needs to be kind of a living document. I think that it should be modified as the case progresses. The example of the parent who may divulge some kind of really traumatic event in their life that would give us some new understanding about their mental health status. And so as the parents make progress, I think that the case plan, it needs to be modified. It should not be set in stone.
It's important for social workers to understand that there are a lot of families out there that have a lot going on, and they're very busy, and there's a lot of pressure to get things done, to make your treatment appointments, to make your counseling appointments, to make whatever is on the case plan there. It would be nice for them to understand that.
Case plan adherence is important, but it's not everything. These are in place for a reason. They help us determine when a person meets milestones and when they make progress, but they shouldn't be the only determinant.
Listening to your clients and their experiences and overcoming your own biases are important steps in helping your client work towards recovery. There are many other elements that can contribute to that success as well, including the use of an integrated case plan that is used by all providers working with the client, connecting clients and their families to formal and informal resources and supports, and ensuring access to providers that can address both the chemical and mental health issues together.
We as treatment providers like to separate out when we're talking about the mental illness and when we're talking about the substance use. But the person experiences this as this is just what their experience is. And the integrated approach is really meant to meet the person where they're at.
A lot of times families need ongoing support after we're gone, like through support groups, ongoing therapy, ongoing aftercare. In my practice, it's not only just giving resources to the family. It's, you may be sitting down with them, you may be, making the phone call with them, you may be scheduling the appointment for them, you may be bringing them to the appointments.
You are just a part of the toolbox, but you're also making sure for them that there is other tools in the toolbox. Okay, Marvin's in the toolbox, but is this 24/7 hotline, and we got that in the toolbox when we feel in crisis mode? And so what you want to do is you want to get them in the habit of utilizing those services.
Social workers have to be really creative in how do we find this network. If it's not just right there for us, which it normally isn't, how do we find it, and how do we engage the family in thinking that this is going to be something that could be really beneficial to them.
The best outcomes are when you meet with the parent or parents and they come to you and say, I really need to quit using, and I really need to address my depression or my anxiety. When they have that personal buy-in, I think that's when you're gonna have the best outcome.
I think for me, overall, it's having the client have that aha moment. That moment where they can say, oh, that's why I'm using. I'm stressed out, or I'm worried about this, or the finances are bad, or whatever that reason is. But for them, it's that aha thing, like, oh, I get it now. That's why I did it. And if I can take care of that, then I don't have to do it anymore.
Integrated treatment options continue to grow. Social workers can consult with their supervisors and coworkers on integrated treatment resources in their area.
I don't think just because you have an addiction that you can't ever parent again. I think that moms and dads have a really deep connection with their kids and they really love them, and it doesn't make them a bad parent. They just need to overcome whatever brought them to their case in the first place.
People who really want to get better, people with the right supports in place, can do amazing things. And it all begins with believing that recovery is really possible.